Hi, everybody, welcome back. I'm the Strategy Professor, and today we're going to be starting a brand new campaign with Isabella von Karstein and the Vampire Count. So, as always, if you enjoy the content, please be sure to like and subscribe. It really helps out a ton on the channel. Come by, check out the rest of the campaigns as well. We have dozens and dozens of other legendary campaigns, many of which are with vanilla, some of the older ones with SFO, if you'd like to see some content with that mod. If you'd like to sponsor a campaign yourself, just email me at thestrategyprofessor@gmail.com. Let me know what you have in mind. It's just $3 an episode, minimum 10. And I'm happy to, play through what you'd like to see. Okay, let's go ahead and get in here. So this is my favorite Legendary Lord, probably. It gets really close. I love Ikit too. I just finished an Ikit campaign recently, so be sure to check that out as well. But it's just so refreshing. It's just such a different kind of playstyle from a lot of other factions because you don't have any range, you don't have any artillery. You just have to get it done with melee and, monsters and powerful lords and things like that. So it's pretty fun. So you start off with one Blood Kiss. We'll talk about that more when we get into there. You get a really good building at Castle Drakenhof that lets you hire vampires early. You get +3 hero capacity for vampires, 25% weapon strength for vampires in your army. And then whenever she teams up with Vlad, another legendary lord you have access to on turn 1, or on turn 2 rather, they both get +15 melee attack and melee defense. And then any vampires in your army get +10 melee attack and melee defense. Okay, so legendary, very hard battle, which is as hard as it goes. Let's go ahead and get in here. So I think Isabella is probably the strongest lord just because you do get access to the vampires early and she buffs up the vampires by a tremendous amount. And then she has some really good lord skills as well. Manfred's also pretty good. He has some nice magical qualities, about him with it's like dark arts or something that gives you a ton of extra winds of magic. So Manfred is pretty good, but it really just comes down to that building that Isabella and Vlad can get early that allows the vampires for a tier 1 building that traditionally requires a tier 4 building. And vampires are extremely strong. I think they're the best, or certainly in the conversation for best hero in the game. Excellent spellcasters, excellent fighters, and they have really good buffs like replenishment for your army, leadership buffs for your army. They're just extremely good. They get like flying mounts, excellent in combat. So it's really strong lords overall. So the game plan early is just try to rush and get Castle Drakenhof, load up on vampires, and just start murdering everybody. I love this campaign too, just because it's so aggressive. You don't have to sit around and wait for, a level 3 town before you can do anything. You can just go at it early. Now, your expansion is somewhat limited in terms of like how fast you can move out by the corruption. Having a bunch of vampires also gives you a lot of extra corruption in some places, but public order, especially on legendary, is a consideration in the early game. But nevertheless, you can still fight and kill a lot of things. So I really like their play style. And I just love like big monsters, and I just like vampires as well too. I know vampires aren't as in vogue as they were in the, I guess, 90s or early 2000s or whatever, but I think they're a really fun sort of mythical creature. Okay, so we're just going to go ahead and hop in here. Sometimes you get a follower just for hopping in. Okay, so we just want to come over here. We want to get Vlad online next turn. One thing about the vampire counts is you don't have a great siege attacker early. At tier 3, you have Crypt Horrors, which can allow you to attack on that first turn, which is very, very important. You almost never want to wait around for siege equipment if you can help it, because every turn you're sitting there is basically wasted upkeep, wasted advantages that you could be getting on the map. So with almost any faction, if you can at all help it, you really want to be attacking on that first turn of the siege. So it's hard to do that as vampire counts until you get to these Crypt Horrors that can knock down the gates early on. But Vlad does count as a siege attacker, and he can do it. Now, he doesn't knock down the gates. You can just climb up the walls and just kind of hack your way through stuff early on. And to that end, you also want to load up on some Vargeists early if you can. This is going to be one of your best kind of mid-game units. Is because it is flying, which is going to give it supreme mobility, excellent on sieges. It's a lot weaker in the base game than it is in SFO, but it's still pretty good. It has an okay charged bonus at 26. Its melee attack is basically 48 because it's got frenzy. Does a ton of damage, but it has very low armor, so you do not want to have these things sort of tied up in combat. The problem is, like, whenever they charge in, they go really far in, and they don't weigh a lot, though. So that means they can get surrounded by other infantry and just kind of bogged down, and some of them will get picked off whenever you try to run away, especially if you charge into spears. So you have to be really careful with kind of how you're maneuvering them. But they are, you know, very, very strong. And of course they cause fear. Everything causes fear, pretty much. So anything that's not going to be immune to fear, especially if they've already taken some casualties and you charge them in the back, that's going to cause a lot of leadership problems. Now, one thing that is kind of annoying with the vampire counts is they still do have this armory building, which is, you know, kind of like really early days of Total War development. Most factions don't have this anymore, but just requiring a supplementary building that itself doesn't allow you to recruit, you have to have another building with it to recruit, is really obnoxious, especially when this building's 4,000 gold and 6,000 right here. And there are other gates behind units, so that's going to keep you from hiring even just a tier 2 grave guard, which aren't that great by themselves. So you're going to have some pretty weak units early on. You're not going to have a ton of diversity. This requires a vampire crypt, which is a tier 4 building, and like these require things, so that part is kind of lame. However, you do have raised dead, and you can get several good units off of the raised dead. And there are some units that don't require things. So, for example, these Vargeists don't require any special buildings, and the Cryptors don't require special buildings. So those are the two that you really want to try to get a hold of early. Those are kind of your business units, as I call it. So you have a lot of chaff, just a lot of expendable garbage that you can build. Just zombies, skeletons. You can just kind of keep that flowing, but you got to have enough business units as well. I'm going to go for 2 Vargeists. You could go for the full 3 if you want. But like I said, you really don't want to charge too many in there. There's only so much surface area that you can charge into, and you just don't want to keep them bogged down in combat. You want to stay agile with them. So I think having 4 is probably about the right number. And then just some skeleton warriors. I like skeletons more than zombies most of the time. They are a little bit more gold, but they're so much more combat efficient. They have just, you know, way more armor, way more melee defense. And, you know, neither one of these is going to kill a lot. They're just going to bog stuff down and try to keep people busy while your business units take care of the rest, which are usually a suite of these large monsters and your lords and your magic. You have very strong magic. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and do all that. As far as technologies early on, you want this Lamian blood so you can get a blood kiss. And then when we kill Manfred, we'll get 1 more, and that'll put us at 3. And the main goal with the blood kisses here is you can unlock these special faction-wide buffs. The first one is 3, the next one is 6, the next one is 12 in any given tree. So you're highly incentivized to kind of jump around from lord to lord. Excuse me. And you do get access to a legendary lord as well. Or not legendary, but like a special kind of lord that has special qualities. Which we're not going to be hiring a ton of lords, especially early on, because it's very expensive on legendary to do so, and we're going to have Vlad, as he just complements Isabella so well. But we will get some of these eventually, but just not in the early game. So the lord doesn't matter as much. Like, I think this guy's technically the best fighter lord, most likely, but what we're really looking for here is just these buffs. So we want to start with Lamian Gifts. This first one, minus 50% upkeep for all heroes. We're going to have a lot of vampires. So this will probably save you somewhere in the neighborhood of 150 gold per vampire. We're going to have like 5 vampires early, so that's going to be 750 gold. And then we're probably going to stack up some necromancers as well, which are about 300 each also. So you're looking at this being about 1,000 gold in the early game, which is obviously a really big deal financially. And then after that, you probably, I would say, go for Von Karstein. Couple of reasons. Number one, 20% casualty replenishment is great. Getting access to the Sylvanian crossbowmen are like, you know, mercenary type of units. So that they're not amazing, but If you just need to, you know, spam a bunch of units really quick to try to defend an outpost, then that can be helpful. But the really big ticket is this right here. Public Order +5. This is really going to help you expand a lot and just control your properties, even if your corruption is not quite where you'd like it to be. If you can just get like some decent corruption, this will put it over the top and make the properties a lot more manageable. Other things that are kind of noteworthy, the tier 2 on this, the +5 vampiric corruption, is good in a lot of properties. It does take a while for that corruption to really get maximum effect, right? And so that's why I like the public order. It just immediately gives you the 5 public order. You don't have to wait on it. So I think the 5 public order is probably superior. The ambush doesn't matter as much. Like, it's cool. It's all right. Maybe versus chaos down the line, that could be helpful. But early on, you're going to be aggressive. You're going to be doing a lot of sieging. You don't want to be sitting around ambushing most of the time. I don't know. I mean, maybe that's not true. Maybe ambushes are good, especially if I'm going to have 2 lords early. You can have one just sit in ambush stance and the other one have, like, no units in it and bait people to come out of towns. So I can definitely see some utility in it. So, I don't know. It's okay with certain types of strategies. And then the corruption's obviously pretty good, but not as good as a public order. So I would probably go for this, and then maybe this is a third option. Because like I said, you do want to bounce around. You don't want to go for the tier 3. Even if it looks really cool, just don't do it. 12 is not worth it. It's almost always better just to go for the 3 stuff fairly early on. Maybe a 6 if it's really good, like this one. This guy, like I said, he's one of the more powerful fighters, but the bonuses are pretty lame, in my opinion, for the most part. This dude's okay. Like, research rate's good. There are some pretty good techs. It's not phenomenal. It's okay. Winds of Magic is good. Upkeep for all units is fantastic, but, again, it's 12 to get to that, so that's just too much. And then that right there also helps the public order. Really, really nice, but it's also 12. And then this one, line of sight's kind of whatever. So the big one is get to this, heroes early, replenishment, public order. Those are kind of your main goals. That'll get you through the mid game. Okay, so we're going to do this. We're going to wait to do the Raised Dead before we move over there. And then right here, I would just throw down Cursed Fields. It's just really cheap, gives you a little bit extra gold early, and then I would hold off on the rest of this stuff because the money is going to be pretty tight in these first few turns. And okay. So the goal, as I said before, is obviously get all the stuff that's already corrupt, because that's just basically free property, and you get a lot of like bonus public order there for places being really corrupt. And then we'll probably be aggressive with the humans. The dwarves can kind of mess with you from the mountains a little bit. So we'll just see how it kind of plays out. You got a little bit of flexibility there. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get Vlad. Remember, we need Vlad to siege Castle Drakenhof because we don't have any siege attackers. Also, he's a good fighter himself, but especially combined with Isabella, he's going to be great. Now, on Legendary, he doesn't cost anything to hire, but it is expensive. So it's 666 extra gold just because of the 15% upkeep. So by saving on one Vargeist, potentially, it's even more impactful because it would be a 15% extra cost to hire that extra Vargeist. Okay, so we're going to hire that, and then I think we can grab... We don't need too much here. I'm kind of thinking if we want a dog to kind of reposition and run stuff down. The dogs are very good open field. They're kind of bad in a siege. I think this is probably sufficient for now. Just getting one extra skeleton. We could get one extra one here, but I just don't think we need too much ground stuff with this. Okay. Just trying to penny pinch a little bit here, save a little bit. The main thing we do not want Vlad in Castle Drakenhof. That will probably be almost impossible to siege. It'll be extremely difficult.
I shall go.
Yes, my sire.
So we're really hoping that they don't, like, dash down here next turn. We're gonna, like, just move over here and make it look like we're not going for Castle Drakenhof, like we're going for somebody else. I don't know if the AI, how much they really consider that type of stuff. Probably not much. Oh, I could have raised dead as well. But if they don't go into Castle Drakenhof next turn, I don't think I'll need the raised dead. Now, if they go in there, when you're dealing with other vampires, they can use the raised dead before you do. So you have to really be, you know, cautious about that. Okay, I think we'll just wait on it. Now, when I did a little practice run of this, he didn't... Yeah, okay. So he's taking Eshin. He was sieging Eshin, I guess. Another option would be just take him out at Eshin before he can hire more stuff. But I don't think I can get Vlad there fast enough. I could try to do it without Vlad. He's not hiring this turn. Now, he will get to bring in another lord if I don't hit him this turn. And the sooner I take this, obviously, the sooner I get the gold income. And they would get to hire another lord here to defend and potentially raise dead and stuff like that. So I think I just want to go ahead and go for the town, and then we'll go for Manfred on the following turn. Okay. So he's at war with Tempelhof, who still has a decent army, surprisingly.
Let us not waste our time comparing grimoires. Straight to business, I feel.
Oh, wait, let me see. No. See if they'll pay us anything for that. Okay.
Cower before me.
Bow. Farewell. What? I assent. Speak.
The world will drown in blood.
And this is why it's crucial to be able to strike on turn 1 also, because then he can't come reinforce it. If I was building siege equipment, he would come down and attack me, and it would be outside the walls, but he would still have the garrison, which is pretty substantial. He's got 2 Vargeists, you know, early on. Alright, let's go ahead and do it. So one reason among many why you never want to mess with siege equipment, if you can at all help it. So if we didn't have Vlad, we would have to get siege equipment, and it would be a lot tougher. We'd be saving a lot of money, you know, 600 to 800 gold per turn, but he is kind of worth the money. He's a really good fighter, and he really buffs up Isabella, as I said before, and just having an extra Invocation of Nehek, an extra heal cooldown that's available, and they both have this debuff, Beguilement, that lowers the melee attack of a unit by a ton. So they bring quite a bit to the table. Okay, so I'm going to set up here with Vlad and see if they will set all of their units up here. See if they'll go for it or not. Okay, good. So we're going to set that up over here. And then we've got the reinforcements coming in over here. And now we can just go for this corner. And what you want to do, at least at this early stage with the vampire counts, is just try to sneak up on a corner if you can. Control that smaller area. Control that smaller area. Try to assume control of the skies. Oh, this is like weird. I can't climb up there, I guess. I don't know.
I serve my sire. Excellent.
Okay. So we just want to get in here, control the skies, just come over here and just knock out their flying units. Before they can, you know, we want to get up those rafters before they can rotate over here. This is the ideal situation. If we can get into this corner, they should not be able to shoot us with any of their cannonball stuff. We could also just knock this out, potentially. Yeah, I kind of like that idea. Before they rotate the rest of it. And they may not even bring their flyers over here for a little while.
Queen of darkness. Vampire. I serve my sire.
Okay, so they are bringing in some spears over here, which is kind of annoying. We can go ahead and just climb, I think. We'll be fine. Especially with our ghouls.
I will.
Yeah, I might just mess with this stuff first. They're trying to use these spears. Let's kind of stand here and chill, freak them out a little bit. Yeah, if they're not going to move those, I guess we'll just wait and just take advantage of this stuff. Now, when your units climb up these ladders, they are drained, so they are out of... they are extremely low on vigor. But if you wait, they'll get it back. It does kind of suck that Vlad... I put these up here before Vlad got in there, and now they're already committed to climbing. So Vlad is going to be late. You know, the rest of these are getting stronger. They're fading. And if we can get this gate, then we can bring in the horses and some of the skeleton warriors. We might even be able to just bring in Vlad. Now, if I come over here and kill these, maybe I do go for those, because that will hurt the leadership of the overall army, just to have more stuff dead. So I guess while we're waiting on them, we might as well. And then we can just use some of the healing. Air combat is so weird. I want to make sure we're getting a good surface area here. The bats don't really matter. I just want to make sure we're killing these guys. So I sent my bats in first, hoping that maybe they, you know, focus fire some of my bats, which it seems like they're doing. They are getting one of these guys a little bit here, but I'm gonna dismiss the bats after a couple of like major fights anyway, so it's not gonna matter. Oops.
If you dare!
Oh, nice. Okay, well, they're giving up on this. Alright, well, let's get down and...
For my lord husband!
So they're rotating back to try to deal with this, although they don't have anything that can hit flying, so... But they're trying to defend this home area. Just cute. But they left this gate open, which I like that. Okay, Vlad did get up. He's still tired, but...
Give them the gift.
We'll just chill here, just to put a little threat on them, just so they're scared. Okay, we got the door. We know that because we see it's yellow. We should just be able to walk on in at this point.
Vlad von Karstein. Lifelings.
Not the horses. We don't even need the Black Knight. The Black Knights are really underwhelming. Most part, I really don't have a high opinion of most cavalry, except for Monsters Cavalry to begin with. They're so bad on sieges. They're so bad at sustained combat. There are some exceptions. Obviously, cavalry with a really strong charge and things, like I said, like demi-griffs and stuff like that, they're like Monstrous Cavalry, can be really good. Those special ogre cavalry are pretty cool. But I just much prefer monsters. Big monsters instead. Even as shock units, just because they're just better in sustained combat a lot of the time. A lot of times they'll have sweeping strikes too, so they'll be doing like area of effect damage. Like I know Cryptors have sweeping strikes. I think the Vargeist might also. Now they're not great in sustained combat, but the Cryptors are pretty solid. They have poison, regeneration, all that kind of stuff. And that's really where the vampire counts come ahead, is they just have pretty good units for like really long fights because of so much regeneration. Especially their heroes. Their heroes are extremely good at fighting. So we're just gonna pile in here. Heal some of these guys up. Charge cycle him. Alright. So you don't need to send them all in there. Like I said, there's 16 of them. There's just not enough room for 16 of them to be effective, so just kind of charge cycling them like that. Just having some just hanging out, getting their vigor back, and just charging the other ones in. And their magic, like, when I say their magic is strong, it's the Invocation of Nehek is so good. It just heals up so many units. They have nerfed it since it very first came out. When you overcast it, it can only heal 4 units, but it still heals for, like, over 3,000. And in the baseline game, you know, when a standard unit is going to have like 6 or 7,000 health, like, it's really good. And it's very cheap too. I think the overcasted version is like 6 mana, maybe 8 mana. So that's very strong. And then they also, you know, have access to Spirit Leech, which is very good versus enemy lords. They can summon a bunch of skeletons, which is good. And just a whole variety of things. And they have really good with the Purple Sun of Xerxes or whatever. That's really good with this style of army. Basically, you can send your vampires or your other heroes in. We're just going to occupy and see if we can get 1 or 2 buildings. I think it's better than sacking. Does kind of suck that you siege with Vlad. So a lot of your units don't get as much... I don't remember if they get as much experience or not. I know Vlad definitely gets more than Isabella on these sieges, but... wow, that's actually really nice. Screaming Banner. That's actually quite good, too. Those are nice pickups. Okay, good. So we did get a couple of buildings. That's better than sieging. I think we just go ahead and sell that. Now here... Okay. Want her to be the combat one. The replenished troops is good, but I think we just want this extra. Well, how injured are they? They're basically going to be full for next fight anyways. We'll just go ahead and make her safeguard. The extra armor is nice when you're getting beat on by a bunch of skeletons and zombies. Armor is a big deal. And then anyone that has death magic, you want to make sure you level up the magic. The shadow magic is kind of bad. It's not like the worst, but death magic is better. And then I would recommend just getting Doom of Darkness, just so you can just smash their leadership and you already cause fear. So against like a bunch of Empire type of units that don't have phenomenal leadership, it's not bad, but it's also not great. You can get them to rout. And then the big ticket that you're looking for is this Purple Sun here. It does hurt your own units, but it doesn't do a lot to single entity units. So if you can just lead with like Isabella or Vlad, stuff like that, get a bunch of infantry to pile around you and then cast Purple Sun, it'll just wipe them out. It's very good. Now in SFO it is a lot better because it doesn't move as fast, so it's a lot more reliable damage, but it's still pretty good from what I remember in the base game, unless they've nerfed it a lot. Okay, so we just want to get Dark Pact is pretty good, but I think just Restless Dead. And what we really want here with pretty much every lord is +1 vampires. You just need to be level 4 to get this. But that's obviously just going to be amazing. You can even hire lords once you get things that give you like extra lord ranks or whatever. You can just start hiring lords and basically just buying vampires. Like you can just pay 1,000 gold, hire a lord, get the vampire capacity, and then just dismiss the lord. And then they still stay on your roster with this skill. I'm pretty sure they don't have to be on the battlefield unless they nerf that. So you can just keep buying extra vampire capacity for 1,000 gold every time, which is really, really good. And these vampires, at least in SFO, they just really dominate the mid game. There's almost nothing people can do about these in a lot of fights. They're not as strong in the base game as they are in SFO, but they're really hard to deal with. Now there are some later game like units that can deal with it, stuff that, you know, just does a lot of armor piercing damage, a lot of burst damage. They can beat the vampires, but especially when Isabella has them, they're extremely good. Okay, so I think we just want 2 of these, maybe 1 dog. We'll probably dismiss the dog, but having just 1 more... So, you know, I don't think we need another flanking unit. It's because we already have the Vargeist and the Black Knights. That's probably fine. I do want this to help me out with the Vargulf he has, which is really obnoxious. And then I guess we can get 1 more skeleton. Just to make sure we get this done right. Okay, then we're going to get rid of that building. And the building we're going to get here is this Mausoleum of the Mad. 2 extra vampire capacity, 3 ranks when you hire one, and the recruitment cost minus 70%, so it's quite good. It doesn't lower the upkeep. In SFO, I think you can make the upkeep almost free with a bunch of different skills. With this one, you only get it to minus 50%, but it's still strong. Okay, and then over here, you know, again, I think we're just going to chill. The growth doesn't matter as much here. A gibbet would be nice, but that's kind of a longer term investment. We just want some short term power right now, I think. And then we're going to dismiss some of this stuff next turn. Let's go with that. 2 is probably fine. Because he didn't hire any units last turn. Fighting Manfred can be potentially kind of tricky, so you gotta, you know, you gotta respect him. You gotta be a little careful, but... Oh, nice. Templehof just rammed into him, so I think they just weakened each other. This place is also somewhat vulnerable to, you know, attack from outsiders, so... Okay, well... Yeah, Templehof just kind of inted right there. But it doesn't look like it hurt Vlad that much. Or, Manfred, rather.
King of Darkness.
I go.
Do we want anything here? I don't think we need anything.
I will not.
They raised... Okay, so they are a little injured there. They have not fully replenished. Alright, so we'll attack with her.
I will alone.
Ooh.
The world will drown in blood.
Okay, I don't think we can hit him on the same turn. It's like, can we sack this and then also kill his army? It's out in the open, but I think that's not going to happen.
And tremble.
Okay, I want Isabella to rank up.
King of Darkness.
And I want her army to be on the field first. Okay, that's fine.
Into darkness. In my own time.
Okay, well,
I thirst. Bring them. No mercy.
Vlad von Karstein.
can I channel with him?
I never tire.
Make sure of that.
I shall go. Bend to my will.
Annihilate them.
I'm not sure if I'm going to get the channeling bonus or not, because this isn't the main army. But we'll see. I hope I do. Alright, let's do it. Get aggressive. Vampire buildings are kind of expensive too. So you really do not want to be sacked a lot of the times. Oops, go ahead and pull this over here. Alright, let's get our Air Force ready. I'm gonna use our ghouls to flank if we can, and just use the skeletons as kind of our front line. Let's save these and try to get those on the...
Isabella von Carstein.
Get those on the Vargulf if we can. Okay. Now, do not lock your formation. I've done that before, and when I was doing my run through, and I did locked formation, and I attacked a flying unit, but they also attacked ground units, because locked formation, they just attack whatever's closest a lot of times. So see if we can get Manfred to just waste some magic on them too. You know, cast some Spirit Leech or something on them, and then we can just heal them when they come back over. I think we'll stay out of the woods. You know, that is a consideration. The woods do make larger units weaker. Oh, he has some kind of fireball wand or something. But we have more large units. We have the Vargeist, so... I want to try to match these up with the dogs if we can. Try to get air superiority here. Bats are just horrible. I mean, it seems like they should be a lot more durable for having really high melee defense, but they just really don't do very much. Alright, I guess he's gonna make us come to him. Last time he just kind of came at us. Okay, yeah, here he goes. Yeah. It's like, alright, I mean, I'm just getting free kills on your stuff, and you're not pressuring me at all. So yeah, I mean, he should have to come at me. Or are they just gonna stand there? Okay, they're coming at us very slowly, I think. Did he miscast? If he miscast, he's gonna damage himself too. I think he should only have so many of those fireballs. Get this thing. Oh, they knocked him down. Alright, run, 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 run. We don't want the spears on us or the dogs or whatever. Wow, I can't believe they didn't do more damage to him. That's what I'm talking about. Sometimes it's hard to get them out because they don't weigh as much as it would seem. Wow, they really did not even touch him at all, hardly. Looks like they've decided they just want to chill. no, here we go. Whoa, 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 whoa. Oh my god, I didn't even notice that. Okay, they're just gonna kill a bat, I think. I didn't notice they were still chasing those dogs. Alright, well that was a cute little maneuver by them, I suppose. Oh, okay, this thing's already coming up.
Hungry for blood! Victory is mine!
This thing is obnoxious. Now, get these spears. Get these spears on him. We want to keep these out of spears. Good. Ghouls are good. Come on, you coward.
Swiftly! At once!
Bring death!
Guess I don't need everybody in there.
I, dust! All shall bow!
Where is he? Is he dead already? No. Oh gosh, what a coward. Get over here, bro.
Extinguish light!
Come at me. Guys, what is the issue? Get over here. There we go.
I'm in your throne! Curse of years!
That Vargolf is rough.
Blood
Alright, they should be done. Pierrick, dude, we murdered him. What do you mean? Yeah, Vargulf's kind of running wild, but whatever. It's fine. Alright, now we're going to have to start consolidating our cost, probably. And after we get that Blood Kiss, you kind of have a choice, technology-wise, whether you want to go for the corruption bonuses. Like, there's one kind of early on tech that gives you, like, one extra corruption in all your provinces, and there's another one that, like, spreads corruption to provinces. That does help you expand, but the skeleton one is also extremely good early. Well, I guess you can subjugate just your own faction if you wanted to. Supply you with additional income each turn. Nah, it's better just to get the area. I wish we could recruit Manfred, but we cannot. Okay, that's actually pretty good, though. Raised dead costs. That's actually kind of nice. The hunger is obviously really nice. Oh, it gives bats regeneration. That's kind of cute. 5 extra armor piercing damage. You can get a tech that gives him another one. That's 6. Maybe. It's probably still not great, though. I think we still just want Relentless Dead. Leadership is a huge deal too, but getting the extra vampires ASAP is really a major goal. Here, we'll just go with the replenishment. I mean, that's pretty good for 8. It does only last for 18 seconds. But lowering armor and all these other things are pretty nice. But I think trying to get him to run with Doom and Darkness is probably a little bit better. Terror is nice too. It also does give magic damage. Don't forget that. So with things that have heavy physical resist, like other Wraith type of units, that's actually quite strong. Okay, we'll just go with Doom and Darkness, I think, though. Be facing low leadership units probably early on. Okay, and then okay, yeah, I guess we can't do any more with him. Well, you know what? I think we'll just go ahead and go to right here. And they really love giving me these sinister corpses. Okay, and then we'll go ahead and go with that. And how strong is he? I don't think he has anything left, hardly, right? No, it's virtually nothing. Okay, so we should be able to siege his main castle, and if it's just that, should be able to trim some of these things. This is just too expensive for what it is. It just doesn't matter. The VAR guys just do that way better. I just don't need it. So we get rid of that, and then these are a little expensive for what they are. They are helpful. You know, on paper, they're definitely better than skeletons, but the skeletons are cheaper and they get more upgrades. And again, neither one of these guys is going to be killing a lot of units. Let me just get rid of these bats. They just don't really do anything. Just trimming some cost here. Okay, so we don't want to go too crazy. Just in case, like, Empire comes at us, but we do have Raised Dead if we need it. Okay, and then we're going to get this tech, and we should get Bloodlines next turn. Okay. And we'll try to keep this under an hour. I think managing the cost is probably better. So if you're wondering why would they like suicide into me like that, the main reason is because if there's a rebellion in this region, for whatever reason, they will be the rebellion. So they could potentially get back into the game if Empire comes and like sacks a couple of properties and I can't like hold it or something like that, then they could potentially spawn back into the game. So they just think it's a more, they have a higher chance of winning by actually losing right now, so they could potentially come back later instead of just running around and raiding or something of that nature. Okay, my garrison's gonna get wiped, but whatever. Doesn't matter. You always have a chance of some of your units, if they die, could potentially come back in a very weakened form. That's the dead will rise again. That's what that is. Staff of Damnation is quite good. Nah, it's okay. It's not what I thought it was. I thought it was the thing that gives you a lot of magic in exchange for damaging your health. But that's still pretty nice. It's dark magic, leadership, or punishment. Just kind of always went the magic. Oh, we did get a Tormentor sword too. That's pretty good. He's like, hey guys, you wanna team up? Okay, so they finished Solani, I guess. Okay. Yep. Anyways, that's going to be it for this episode. I'll try to keep these under an hour if I can. As you can see, lots of aggression early on. We're going to keep it going, keep the good times rolling in. We're going to try to take, you know, all of Templehof on this one, and then we'll kind of figure it out from there. If we want to try to go for the dwarves, get them out of there. One thing to keep in mind, though, is Skaven do own this early, and you... mountains are yellow for you. They're not green. So it is kind of obnoxious to try to hold this property, especially without any prior corruption. And that can be a problem. And now that Skaven own this, it's not just all Zufbar. They put a Skaven faction in there. There's a chance the Skaven could keep them busy for a while. And the Skaven are less likely to come at me early, I think, than the dwarfs are. So I think the play is probably just to take this stuff and then... start messing with Empire if we can. But anyways, that's going to be it. Thank you very much. Have a good day, and we'll see everybody next time. Be sure to like and subscribe if you enjoy the content. Email me if you'd like for me, or if you'd like to sponsor a campaign. Have a good one.